Okay, time for a new video, and whether you are somebody new to my channel or you are returning to my channel to watch this video, it is greatly appreciated. As always, I'm filming this in one go, so if I stumble over my words going forwards, I apologise in advance. And as always, I apologise in advance too if the quality of this video is fairly poor, if there's any lag, anything like that at all. Sadly, it cannot be helped, and hopefully it's not too much of an issue for you. This is yet another Eurovision Song Contest 2020 related video here on my channel. And I could have waited a while before filming this one, but I couldn't wait. I got a little bit impatient and I thought that I would share with you the running orders that I have come up with for the two semi-finals of this year's contest, which will of course take place, all being well, this May at the Ahoy in Rotterdam in the Netherlands. And what I did with regards to the running orders, I do this every year, it's just a bit of fun and I wouldn't take it too seriously, but with semi-final 2, at the time of recording this video, it's been quite a few days since we knew for sure all of the songs that were going to be in that semi-final. San Marino, I believe, was the last country to pick its song, or rather announce which song had won their little national final, and then I put together a running order for that semi-final. With semi-final 1, I had to wait until earlier this evening when Russia's entry was revealed, and now I've put together what I think is a pretty good running order for semi-final 1 as well as semi-final 2. Let me know your thoughts on this. I must say it looks as though I'm sitting in the dark watching myself at the moment on camera, but I have the light on. I think it's because I've taken my notice board down. Anyway, that doesn't really matter. What matters is the running order. Fans are going to be doing this left, right and centre over the coming weeks, and it's always interesting to see which country people think will open a semi-final, which country people think will close a semi-final. I have the details here. Semi-final 1, for me personally, is the much stronger semi-final. Not necessarily the harder one to predict, but certainly I think in terms of the quality, semi-final 1 is higher. I think we have more songs in semi-final 1 that have or currently are generating some buzz, if you see what I mean. I think any country that misses out in semi-final 1, it's just really unfortunate that they were drawn into that semi-final, because a lot of countries I think would have benefited from being drawn in the second semi-final. But there we are. Anyway, I'm going to go through what I have here in my notes at the moment. So, a bit of a messy video this, but anyway, feel free to let me know your thoughts. Semi-final 1, when you're putting together a running order, not that I do it professionally for the actual Eurovision Song Contest, but you have to take into consideration various different things, such as, has a country performed in this slot in the recent past? I suppose that does matter. You don't want a country to open a show if they did last year. What type of song do you want to open a semi-final or a grand final? Ideally something that sets the tone, something that shows the audience what that year's contest is going to all be about. You don't want a group of men shoved together, guy after guy after guy. You don't want girl after girl after girl. You don't want band after band after band. You don't want pop followed by pop followed by pop if you can help it. You want it to be broken up with ballads, more mid-tempo songs, different types of expression. And something I think Eurovision does fairly well but could do even better is making each song really stand out from what's gone before, because sometimes watching older Eurovisions back, certainly contests pre about 2007, you do get so many similar songs next to each other, and it just makes for a bit of a dull period in the show. You want each song to stand out as best as it possibly can. Obviously you have to take into consideration commercial breaks, what props a country might be bringing on stage, all of that sort of stuff. Do I think there's favouritism by the producers of Eurovision in terms of where countries are put in the running order? No, but usually countries that are expected to do very well with fans and bookmakers tend to go on right at the end of the first half or right at the end of the show. As we saw in Tel Aviv's grand final last year, Australia right towards the end of proceedings, and the Netherlands right at the end of the first half. You know, Duncan Lawrence was not going to be on in the first 5 songs. Let's be honest. I think the semi-final results do play a part in where each country is positioned in the grand final running order, but of course you have limitations because each country is randomly drawn a half in the grand final in which to perform. Anyway, I'm really starting to ramble. I'm just going to go through it. So in semi-final 1, the first half, which is 8 songs, you want something relatively upbeat to get things going. We do have some very good songs in the first half. I was tempted to put Russia on first, but the Russian song, it's a little bit jokey. Do you really want something like that to set the tone for the rest of the show? We saw in the first semi-final in 2012, Montenegro opened with Rambo Amadeus, and that was just an absolutely dreadful start to proceedings, in my opinion. So I've put Ireland on first, Story of My Life by Leslie Roy. This is a very fun, nostalgic, for me, piece of music, and it's going to get the crowd, if there is one, up on their feet. You know, it's a very likeable, fun start to this year's competition. Is it going to qualify? Probably not, but it doesn't really matter, you know, because I think the song is very good. It's a very credible entry. Following on from that, you want something that's a bit more low-key, but still has the potential to really stand out. So you could go for the biggest straight-up ballad in the first half of the first semi-final, which is the Slovenian entry. Instead, I've gone for Belarus. This is Davidna by Val. I think that would be a decent song to follow on from Ireland, a completely different type of expression. Then I've gone for one of the big hitters. We have Sweden, Russia, Lithuania in this first half, all of whom are expected to do very well and definitely qualify. One of them is going to be on very early, maybe even open the show. Song 3, I've gone with the Mamas for Sweden with Move. This is a surefire qualifier no matter what happens, and they won't be bothered by their position in the running order. Sweden were on first in the first semi-final in Kiev a couple of years ago. Didn't matter, qualified, did very well in the grand final. Following on from them, Anna Soklic with Voda for Slovenia. This is not going to qualify in all honesty, and it probably will finish last overall. I can see the producers sandwiching Slovenia, unfortunately, but it can't be helped here, between 2 big hitters. Following on from Slovenia, I've gone with Russia, you know, Little Big with Uno. And then following them, this is where the running order got a little bit tricky, but I've gone with Australia after Russia, song 6, that's Montaigne with Don't Break Me. And then we have 2 songs left. I think Lithuania, being arguably more of a favourite at this moment in time than Russia and Sweden to win the whole contest, I can see the producers sticking Lithuania on right at the end of the first half. So the Roop are song 8, which means Vasil with the U for North Macedonia is song 7. I should say, this is not my ideal running order. This is just a prediction as to how it might look, and I believe the running order will be announced to us, all us Eurovision fans, probably at the end of March or early April, depending on what happens between now and then. Moving into the second half, ideally you do want to start with something upbeat for the second half, but I've actually gone for Croatia. It makes sense, something that's quirky and relatively up-tempo like On Fire for Lithuania, followed by something more low-key and chilled out, I guess. And Croatia is the song I've gone for there, Divli Vjetre by Damir Kedjo. The second half is stacked with songs that are expected to qualify, and it's rare that you get so many songs in a row qualifying. There's usually one out of a group of maybe 5 or 6 that doesn't make the cut. That's what I've tried to do here. I'd be very surprised if we get 6 qualifiers, 5 or 6 qualifiers in this second half, all of whom perform one after the other, going through to the grand final. Let me know your thoughts on that. Song 10 after Croatia, Israel. Some people see this as a show closer. I can see it being on a bit earlier. Following on from Feker Libi, I've actually gone with Ukraine, song 11. Wasn't sure where to place Goe in the running order, but I think 11th is a decent slot. After that, let's have a ballad. So Romania go in with Alcohol You. Then let's go up tempo again. Cyprus with Running. I think Azerbaijan and Malta are stronger threats this year than Cyprus. In fact, I'd definitely say that the Maltese and Azerbaijani entries are not only stronger but more likely to win than Cyprus this year, so I can see Cyprus being on slightly earlier. Then let's go for a bit more chilled out, a more chilled out vibe, and that's where Hooverphonic for Belgium come in. And then we have 3 songs left, all of whom I expect to qualify, and all of whom would be very happy with their slots in the running order if this running order miraculously became real life. So I've gone with Malta, song 15, I've gone with Norway, song 16, although I can see Ulrika being on much earlier, meaning that closing semi-final 1 for me is Effendi with Cleopatra for Azerbaijan, a really big, show-stopping finale. And there it is. That's my prediction for semi-final 1. Realistically, I'll probably get 2 of those countries in the correct positions, and the other ones will all be over the place. Semi-final 2. Well. Semi-final 2, like I said, is, I think, the harder one to predict, and certainly for me, the less interesting and strong semi-final this year. It's usually the way. Semi-final 1 always seems to be the much more exciting show. Anyway, we've got one more song in this semi-final, so there's 18. Opening the show, again, you want to start with something relatively up-tempo. You could have the Czech Republic, definitely. You could have San Marino, but I suppose that's a little bit more cheesy. So I've gone with Austria to open semi-final 2. Vincent Bueno, I think that's a fun, up-tempo, catchy song to get things going. Then you want something that's a bit more low-key, so I've put Poland on as song number 2. That's Empires. If you're wondering why I keep looking down here, it's because I've got my notice board here. A lot of people might be a bit miffed with me that I've put Poland on second, but you know, if the song's good enough, it'll qualify, and I think Poland will at this point in time. Then I've put San Marino on as song number 3. Don't rule them out qualifying. Don't rule San Marino making the final again. After that, Prison by Natalia Gordienko from Moldova, and then we have the first real serious contender to win the second semi-final. Serbia is song 5 for me. That's Hasta la Vista by Hurricane. Then I would have a song that I don't think is that bad, but a lot of fans don't seem to think is very good at all, and that's Estonia's Uku Savista with What Love Is. Then I would have another upbeat song, that's the Czech Republic, followed by Greece, followed by Iceland. The end of that first half, you do have 3 quite upbeat songs in a row. It just can't be helped. I think each song will be staged in their own way. Each song is going to stand out enough. You know, the Czech Republic, at the moment, I would say is a non-qualifier. The revamp is absolutely dreadful, in my opinion. Although he might go back to the original, who knows. Greece, I think, will qualify, but they just have to absolutely nail the staging. And then Iceland are probably going to win the semi-final, and I think the producers of the show will know that and stick Doughty and Gagna Magnis right on at the end of the first half of the second semi. Then we move on into the second half. So you've got an upbeat song finishing. Let's go for something that's more stripped back, less fun and quirky maybe. So Portugal, song 10. Then Armenia. I don't see Armenia qualifying at all, but you never know. Athena Manukian with Chains on You. The second half, yeah, there's definitely some songs that stand out well above the rest here. I've gone with Albania, song 12. My opinion on the revamp, by the way, slightly better. That's all I've got to say about it. I don't think they needed to change it into English, but there we are. After Albania, I've gone with Georgia. I really wasn't sure where to put Take Me As I Am for Georgia in this running order. I think somewhere in the middle of the second half seems fair enough. But I can see Georgia, again, like Slovenia in the first semi-final, being sandwiched between 2 real big hitters. Anyway, Denmark could be a show closer, but I've put them on as song 14. Following Denmark, I've gone with Bulgaria, who I believe are the favourites to win. I'm not quite sure how, although the song is growing on me. Anyway, Bulgaria, song 15. And then you'll probably get a song that nobody's really expecting to do that well. You know, just to break things up, you've got, this is a qualifier, this is a qualifier, oh, that's not a qualifier, and then this is a qualifier. You know, it does seem to happen quite often. So Finland, in between Bulgaria and Switzerland, the 2 serious contenders to win the second semi-final this year. Finland, no chance if they are sandwiched between 2 such nations. But you never know. You never know what the juries will think, that's the thing. The public, on the other hand, won't go big for Finland. Bulgaria, yeah, I've said about them. Then Finland, then Switzerland. That song is pure quality, which means closing semi-final 2, and I think a lot of people might agree with me on this, is Samantha Tina, Still Breathing, for Latvia. Just a really vibrant, striking song to close proceedings. And it's often the way that the later on you are, the more likely you are to get through to the final. In the grand final, it's a bit different. The later on you are, the more pressure there is on you. Because by song 25, 26, people have already made up their mind from the previous songs who they're going to vote for. Not necessarily, but I think more often than not that is the case. Which is why Australia, their result last year was quite impressive, because, you know, people could have just gone massive for Russia, absolutely massive for the Netherlands, Italy, which was a few songs before, but people really gravitated towards Zero Gravity. Anyway, that was one giant ramble, was it not? And I'm pretty sure people will not find this video riveting at all, but I wanted to discuss with you my running orders for the 2020 Eurovision Song Contest semi-finals. What I have here, ladies and gentlemen, is what I had last year, although my room has since been decorated and this is now landscape. But it is essentially many slips of paper pinned onto my notice board. It has the country's name and then the artist's name and the song, and there will be other bullet points on here when I can be bothered to get around to writing them on. We have semi-final 1, that's this batch here, and then semi-final 2, I'm going to stand up here, is just here. You won't be able to see terribly well at all, but here are some of the semi-final 1 nations, and semi-final 2 is just there. Not brilliant, but I think you can see it reasonably well, and I'll be showing this again closer to the time. Yes, indeed. And I think this is what Christer Björkman has done several times in the past. He has used coloured post-it notes to devise the running order and used bullet points and things like that. Anyway, I'm actually going to put this back up on my wall right now, he says, without trying to completely smash everything in front of me. Oh, blimey. Okay, here we go. Okay. I know that's going to come off. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Well, I do hope you're enjoying this video where it's just several minutes of my chest on camera. Oh dear. That will do. And what will happen is I will sort it out better in terms of the exact running order once we've got it, of course, and then I'll be making my predictions closer to the time as well. My next video is probably going to be my current top 41, so look out for that if you're interested. I'll give you some clues. Well, if you go on my Twitter page you'll see it, but maybe you don't want to spoil the surprise. I'll give you some clues. My winner is a ballad. My number 2 needs slightly better staging. And my number 3 is also a ballad. And my number 41 is also a ballad. And the country I'm from is in my top 20. There we go. I think that's it. Really long, rambling video this, but I'm going to upload it right now, and hopefully you found it somewhat interesting. Notice how it's suddenly a lot brighter in my room now because my notice board is back up. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. Stay safe wherever you are. You know you have to be a little bit wary of the virus that's going around. But stay safe, take care. I'll be back at some point. Bye for now.